Hello everyone, Ron Ferreira here, and I'm back with another tutorial. In this tutorial we're gonna make a kind of rock. It's gonna be a two-part, hopefully. One where we make a kind of big rock, texture it, and in the second tutorial we'll make an axe that is stuck into the rock. Hopefully in the part 2 I'll be able to make the color maps that we create for the from the textures we create for the rock and the axe, and then it's the same texture maps that are baked that you can use for your game when you export the rock and the blade into Unity or Unreal Engine. So to get started, I've got some reference of a rock. It would be good to grab some reference. I'm not going to make a highly detailed rock or anything like that, but it's still good to have some reference. So I'm going to start with an icosphere over here. I don't know if I should, yeah, I guess 2 subdivisions is fine. And yeah, we can get started. So the way I'm going to do this is in sculpt mode. You could honestly do this any way you'd like. So first thing is in sculpt mode, I'm going to use the grab brush and just kind of shape the rock a bit better. So maybe I should scale this up a bit quickly first. I'll try not to scale it up too much. You might end up with more geometry than what you wanted. So I'm just going to go from the right orthographic view. Let me just put screen pass keys on. Okay, so I'm going to kind of drag the bottom out here, try and flatten it up a bit here. Make it all flat at the bottom, something like that. Maybe bring that out some more, and that out some more. Try and flatten the top a little bit, something like that. Don't worry about this part stuck inside here, we'll sort that out soon, but just make the brush size smaller and it should still work anyway. So maybe we'd like this a bit wider, something like that, and just to make it a bit more interesting, let's grab out a piece from this side. Okay, and in this case I don't want symmetry enabled, so I'm just gonna go into the tool panel, symmetry lock, and mirror X off. That way when I pull out here, it's only gonna pull it out on this side. I'm gonna flatten that out a bit, make it a bit more square, something like that. Bring it up. And yeah, that's okay for now. And now we can carry on with sculpting. I just like to flatten this a bit more, give it a bit of a step here. Okay, so for this I'm going to use dynamic topology, so I'm going to enable that. Okay, usually I use relative detail, meaning where you zoom in you're going to add more details. Yeah, maybe it's still a good idea to do that. Let's take the detail size to about let's say 6 for now. Yeah, with relative detail, the lower you go, the more detail you have. If you have this switch to constant detail, I know a lot of people use that, the higher you go, the more detail you'll have. I think that's correct. Anyway, I'm gonna stay on relative detail for now, and what I'm gonna start with is the flattened, kind of like a scrape, I guess. And and I just want to flatten this top piece a little bit. Something like that. And what you'll see is the moment I touched that, it really added a lot of geometry. So maybe that's too much. Let's undo that quickly. Let's not start off with so much detail. So let's go to 12 and see how that works out. So let's try that again. Yeah, it's okay. It's a bit better. I want to flatten out this face here too. So I'll just come and work my way on it. And let's add some geometry here as well by flattening it, so that we can come back, because there's more geometry, we can come and sculpt this a bit better to make it more square around here. And we'll do the same here. So don't worry if it breaks a bit, it's not too serious. Another thing I like putting on is front faces only. So if I'm sculpting this side, it won't really affect the other side. Anyway, so I'm going to come and flatten out here some more. A bit like that. Just go all the way around and flatten it out. Something like that to start off with. It's okay. Okay, cool. So now I really like using the clay strips brush, but it's up to you which brush you prefer sculpting with. And all I'm going to do is make this a bit more square, so that we don't have this sharp edge, so we can quickly just smooth onto that and then come and add some geometry onto it. So you'll see some breaking and stuff. It's fine. It would do that until we start to add more geometry when we're sculpting. So what I can do is flatten that like this, and then just take the grab brush from a good view and kind of pull it out again. Something like that. To bring it out a bit more actually. Why not bring it out some more? Just make sure we grab in the bottom as well. On both sides. And yeah, something like that is okay, and we can just grab the flatten brush again and just kind of quickly run over there and the sides, just to make it a bit more square, almost like a brick sticking out of here. You can take the clay strips brush with a smaller size, and with Control, just push in this area here like that, and then go back to the flatten brush and just make it a bit more square. I'd like this corner to be like kind of eaten away, so I'm gonna try this with the scrape brush and see what it does. Something like that is okay. And maybe we don't really have corners up here, but we can still here and there just remove some sharpness from it. Something like that. Okay, so back to this part here. We're going to do pretty much the same we did with the small piece, so we can try and start with flattening over here, but it's not going to work too well. So let's just smooth that out, grab the clay strips brush, maybe from the top view, and we'll just lay some foundation over here. And another reason I'm not working with the symmetry on is because I'm sure that no rocks are really symmetrical. I guess you could find it in some cases, but most cases it shouldn't be really symmetrical. So we'll just do that, eat away from it. Now we can use the flatten and just get our square shape here, kind of square shape. Don't need to make it perfect. And and in the grab brush, once again, just like the side, we'll bring this out like that. And yeah, now we can once again go back into the flatten brush. I keep wanting to call this scrape because to me it's what it's doing. It's just scraping away geometry, flattening it out. So yeah, we've got the base starting to look like something. Still not really rocky, but it's getting there. So let's bring this a bit more forward here to have a sharper step in there, and then we just grab the scrape one more time and just scrape that out. Okay, so for anyone wondering, I do have a tablet, a graphics tablet for sculpting, but just for tutorial purposes and to show some people who just don't have the money for it that you can still sculpt a bit without a tablet. A tablet does make it much easier, especially when you're working on characters and stuff, but other than that, you really can sculpt without it. Anyway, with that said, let's get back in here. So what I'm going to do now is grab the draw brush, and I want to like try and eat away from here. So I'm just going to push and push and push as much as I can. Eat away from that. Just see how it looks from the top. Okay, let's keep going. Just push it away. Something like that, and then we can just come with the inflate, I guess, and just run it across here to try and bring it in. If it's not working, I guess even the crease brush should do something here. So now, do we have a pinch? Yeah, let's try the pinch brush. Okay, so the pinch brush is doing a better job over here. So we just want to get it quite close to each other. Can even grab the grab brush and just kind of bring it in. Okay, so that's not too bad. We can just go some more with the draw brush with the smaller size and just not make it so obvious that we cut this away. Something like that. And I was thinking, just to make the shape a bit better, let's take the grab brush and pull this part in something like that, and then we can grab this part and just bring it out. So maybe from the top, just pull it out something like that. Just push this part in. And this part's more out. So something like that. You can just quickly hit a smooth there and go back. If it seems a bit too stretched and stuff, we'll just grab the clay strips, put a few taps over there, and then smooth it out, and it should keep the shape as much as possible. So we can go back with the pinch and see what it's going to do here. So I think to have better results there, we'll just have to use the grab brush and do something like that. And yeah, maybe we can come over here and scrape this part, a bit flattish here. Just look at it from another angle, go down. Yeah, something like that. It's not perfect. I haven't sculpted many rocks in my life, but yeah, it's a good start. So let's say that the axe is going to be smacked in around center here with the handle coming around here. So let's try and make a kind of crack. So we're going to start it off quite big, so let's do something like this and take then a smaller brush and start to take it in something like that, and we can always just take the grab brush and kind of move this sideways like that, bring this in. So I know this doesn't look like a perfect crack and stuff, and to actually sculpt this properly and make it look really good, you're gonna have to spend more time, really go up with details and add some finer cracks and things like that. But for tutorial purposes, I'm not gonna go through all of that. It's mainly just to show you a quick way of getting a game asset ready. So we can do something like that, grab the pinch brush and see if it's gonna work for us over here. Oh, sorry, I got the rotate brush, okay. Pinch brush. Pinch it, please. Okay, so something like that. Can come and push this corner down a bit. Maybe raise this brick or extrusion here, whatever you want to call it, a bit more than the others. So we can do something like that. Kind of blend it into that part there. Just keep adding shape onto it, something like that. Maybe a bit onto this one as well. So we've got something like this. And once again, we'll just use the flatten brush to kind of define our shape a bit better here. So yeah, something like that. Looks good to me, so I'm happy with this, how it's looking at the moment. Yeah, most likely the exact spot where the axe is, we might have to do some things as well, so let's just do that quickly. I'll just use the crease brush to kind of let's go into more details now. So let's go to, let's say 6 this time. Yeah, and I know there's really high poly at the moment, but don't worry about that too much, since we used the what's this thing called? Yeah, sorry, the icosphere. We can use the decimates to retopologize this, and of course if you don't want to use the decimates, because yeah, it does really destroy sometimes your geometry and you're not really getting what you want, you really don't need to use the decimate. There's many techniques of retopologizing this kind of shape. You could just put a cube around it and yeah, kind of place the cube here, make it match this shape as much as possible, extrude part out here after adding an edge loop. Same edge loop, you'll be able to extrude these parts out and then just bring this part up and yeah, edge loops here and take it in to match all this. It shouldn't be complicated at all, but I'm just going to use the decimate. It's much faster, and it should work. That should work. So we've got that, something like that, and Important now, I think, is just to try and smooth it out a bit better. So since we've got more geo, we can just do something like that, touch and smooth. Uh, as well, we're going to texture this, and the texturing would add a lot of details as well. So let's just smooth up around here. Okay. Cool. So here's our weird looking rock. Let's go into object mode now. Let's see, we've got 11,700 polys, so that's quite a lot. So I'm a bit worried that the decimate is not going to do a great job here. Let's put smooth shading so we can have a better idea what's happening here. And let's duplicate this. So Shift D, just move it to the layer beneath, just to have the backup. Now we're gonna add the decimation, and yeah, so here you see 23,000 faces. So let's set it on collapse first, and let's just go 0.5 half, so 11,000, and nothing really changed here, which is good. Let's try 0.1. Okay, so here we're starting to see some changes. Here's 2,000 polys. It's not bad for a rock this size, and with the details we're trying to achieve with it. I'm gonna try and go even half of this, so 0.05, 1,172. So that's not bad, and yeah, we still keeping most of the shape that we want, which is great. So let's apply that on this and have a look. So yeah, I'm happy with that. It's only 588 verts. It's not bad. You could still go in here. I mean, there's some unnecessary geometry here, but yeah, for me that's good enough. So the next step we'd like to do is unwrap this guy. So I'm gonna try one method first. I'm just gonna try I'm gonna try a spherical unwrap just to see what it does. If it gives a good enough unwrap, why not? Otherwise, I'm gonna try and cut it down the center, so all the way around. I mean, down at the bottom, all the way around here, stuff like that, and then just relax the UVs for the top part so that we get a good unwrap for it. So let's try sphere projection. Okay, Control V here, and it should smooth it out, relax it as much as possible. It could cause problems sometimes, like that's no good. We've got some stretching, we've got some overlapping. So other than this part here, it would have been fine, but yeah, we're not going to use that. I don't think so. So let's just see what other unwrap options we have here. Let's say cube projection. No. No. Okay. So let's unwrap this quickly the old-fashioned way. So it's gonna be quite simple. I'm not gonna kill myself doing this. So I'm gonna start here, control click, come back down here. We want to try and keep it down the bottom as much as possible. The reason for that is to try and hide the seam as much as we can. After the texturing process and that you've baked your image and stuff, you could always come back into Blender and use the clone brush with your baked textures and just fix it up and then resave that baked texture. So I'm hoping this won't give us a problem. A bit scared around these parts. I actually should have gone there, so let's just spend a little bit more time here, why not? Go back here and around this area, maybe in here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, okay. So now Control E and we're gonna mark scene. Okay, now we can press A, U, unwrap. So now we've got two islands here. This being the most important part. That would be the bottom part. So let's Control V and relax this a bit. Yeah, that's looking a bit better. Okay, I like that. Let's bring this out to about here. Let's rotate this like that. And now let's scale them together. Okay, so a bit smaller. Let's see if we can find a way. So I don't think so. I think I'm going to scale this one down a slight bit. I mean, it's not super important, but remember you don't always want to scale your UVs separately because then you can have separate texture resolution on each part. So in some cases that works. I mean, if you have a character, the most important part of the character is the face. Of course, the face wants or will need more texture resolution in the UV map. So I'm just going to name this rock low for now. And I'm going to work on this one. So the reason I'm working on this one is because I want to texture this, and when I bake the textures from this one to the low one, I'm gonna have all this details, the extra details we sculpted that's not onto the low one at the moment. So yeah, I need to unwrap this one too. So I think this one is going to be a bit more complicated, but let's just go crazy, you know. Control click to select the shortest path, and let's just try and do this as clean as possible. Nothing too complicated when the software is doing all the calculations for you. Come on. And we want to end it there. Okay, so Control E, mark seam. So these seams don't need to be exactly the same. In fact, for some reason, I'm not sure if I even had to unwrap this one like this, but anyway, we're gonna keep it like that. Just relax this one a little bit, not too much. And for this, we can just scale this. We want it to take a lot of texture space like that. Even if it's out of bounds, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we can go into the texturing now. I'm just going to add a material on this. And by the way, I'm using cycle, so and yeah, now we're going to go into the node. So what you'd like to do, I'm going to use a rock and kind of moss texture on this. I might have, yeah, I definitely have that, and you'll see in my file that it's just from CG textures, so nothing crazy. So I'm going to add an image texture and duplicate it. We want two of these because it's going to be rock and moss. And then I'm just going to go into my files here, Blender, CG textures, and here I should have rock somewhere. So rock, so we've got that kind of rock, that, and this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try each of them. Why not? I'm going to drop that in here. Just go into material view. So, you know, matter of fact, I'm just gonna keep this rock. It doesn't look bad at all to me. So I'm gonna keep this. Why not? Cool. So we've got that. What we're gonna need to do is add coordinates. So vector. I need to find where the coordinates are. Texture coordinates. Sorry that I'm wasting time here. I haven't done this for a while. So the texture coordinates, we're only going to need one, and then I'm going to need a mapping. I think it's here. Vector, color, so maybe the same. Input, mapping. Wow, they're so hard to find. Won't be in shaders. Won't be there. Oh, it was in vector. Sorry, I was looking like my arse. So we want the UVs in here, and then we want the vector into the rock and into the moss. So let's bring in the moss quickly. Go to the same place, CG textures, and just go into CG textures, create an account, and you have 15 credits to download images every day. So every day you get 15 credits. You obviously you're not capable of downloading the 4K or 2K textures and stuff because they require a premium account, but you can download the 1K textures for 1 or 2 credits, and yeah, every day you get 15, so why not? So here I've got some moss, so let's have a look. I like this one. Yeah, maybe this one's going to be the best one to use. Yeah, that's ugly. So moss 3 here, let's drop that in, and let's change the repetition of the rock and the moss here. So I'm going to try 3, 3, 3. Yeah, let's stay like that for now. We can always change this up a bit later. And just to make this look better, I'm gonna add a lamp, a sun, and in render mode, I'm going to just play with its rotation a bit. Yeah, we can make that look a bit better later. I'm gonna go into the emission of the sun here, just put it up to like 5. Okay. And actually, let's just go into a better view here quickly of the sun. See how it's rotated. How to get there. Fuck you. It's kind of push it in like that. let's render here. Yeah, that's nice. We've got some dark areas and everything to look at nicely. Let's go back into the nodes here, choose the rock, and the next thing we want to do is mix these two. So we're gonna go into color and mix RGB. Mix RGB. Okay, so we're gonna have the rock on the top, I think, because it's gonna be our main texture, and we're gonna add the moss into the bottom. So yeah, as you can see here, that doesn't look too great. It's just like a normal 50-50 blend. Okay, so you can always go here and decide where this moss is going that way, but that's not nice. So let's go in and add a noise texture. So where are you? Noise. Let's drop in a noise, and just to control the noise better, we're gonna add in a color ramp. Where am I gonna find this vector? Was it there? Vector color ramp. Okay, so we're gonna put the color into the faculty of the color ramp, and we're gonna put the color of the color ramp into the faculty of the mix color node. Okay, so now to see this in action, we're gonna bring the black values inwards like that, and then bring the white values towards the black, something like that. And that way we're having some moss around our rock. So yeah, what we can also do to have some more detail on this is add the scale of it. So let's say 8 maybe, just to have smaller amounts, something like that. We could just go 6. Anyway, we can come and play with this later on as well, and just match the detail. So let's just put the detail on 8, and that just gives you a bit more detail on your noise texture. Okay, so now that we've got that set up, we can always come play around with some more settings here. Something like that. Okay, so next thing we want to do is bring in some gloss, because yeah, we might not have some gloss on the moss, but rock sometimes has some gloss. So let's go into shader, glossy, drop the glossy in, and we're gonna want to mix shader over here. So shader, mix shader, where are we? Here, and bring in the gloss. So as you can see now, that really doesn't look great. It's like super glossy everywhere. So what we're gonna do is bring in this noise texture that's working as a mask actually, and bring it into the faculty of the mix shader. So it's the wrong way around. At the moment we're getting the gloss on the moss, and we'd like it on the rock. So the way to fix that is to add a mix color over here and put the color ramp or the noise mask in the bottom, and turn the top color to white. And then if we put this into the faculty, well, maybe it should be the other way around. Let me just see. Okay, it seems like it's still on the moss for me here. So what if I make this black? Okay, it's still on the moss. It's still on the moss. That's not fair. Okay, I see what's happening here. This needs to go here and this needs to be on the white. I think all I need to do here is change these two around like that. Okay, so now it's on the rock. Okay, so the lower this value, the less shine we're going to be getting. So I'm going to put this on like 0.1, and as you can see on the rock here and there we're getting some shine. So it might be a bit serious, so let's bump up the roughness to 0.4, or let's make the roughness a bit sharper actually. So let's say 0.1. Point 0.15. We can always come play with these settings. So maybe that's still a bit too much. So let's go to 0.05 with that. So that looks a bit better. So yeah, this so far doesn't look too great. I mean, yeah, we've got the nice rock and moss texture, but it's not great. I mean, it's not great at all. So how are we gonna do this to make this really stand out now is add in a bump node. So texture, sorry, converter, no, vector, dumbass, bump node. Cool. So we've got the bump node, and what we want to use is the noise mask here and drop it into the height, and then for the magic, the normal into the diffuse, yeah, and the normal into the gloss. So here we're getting our rock detail really popping through, and as you can see we've got this nice glossy look on the rock areas, which making it look a bit wet. Yeah, we're getting some really nice details on the rock. It might be a bit serious, so we could just drop this down, let's say 0.3. Let's say 0.5, just so that we can see what's happening here. Okay, so there we've got some nice details from the rock. The only problem is here with the moss. We're getting slight bump, but not much. So what I'm gonna do is add a color. What am I adding? Math, and I want to put it on multiply. Okay, and what we want to do then is drop in this here, which has the rock and the moss, into the value, and drop that into displacement. So yeah, now you can see we're getting a lot of details from this moss. Maybe a bit too much, so we can drop this down to 0.1 maybe. And now we're getting much better look onto the moss as well. So just to have a better look at this and what I've done, it's really basic. We added two image textures, rock, moss. We added UV coordinates with a mapping to control how much the texture is being repeated onto the object. Then we added a mix color node, and we when we added a noise texture with a color ramp to control the noise texture. And then we put the color ramp's color into the faculty of the color mix as a mask to lay the moss where we want it to be. Okay, next we added the glossy, which we then took the noise texture's output of the color ramp into a color mix with the top white, completely white, and into the faculty of the mix shader with the glossy. Okay, and then we just had to swap around. I mean, it would have been correct if you just put it on the top in the first place, not like me. And that gives us then the gloss on the rock. Finally, to make it all pop and look good, we just added a bump node, dropped the color ramp from the noise texture into the bump's height, and stuck it into both the normals of the diffuse and the glossy. And to get the bump of the moss, we just added a multiply node, the mixed color from both our original textures into the first value, drop it into the displacement, and you just then play with the value to get the amount of bump you're looking for. So once again, this might be a little bit too much of gloss over here. So I'm gonna even drop this down lower, 0.025, something like that. Stop the render, go into this viewport, the main viewport, just to have a better look at it. And that's our rock. So what I'm gonna show you now is how we're gonna get the details from this rock and stuff onto the other one. So there's two ways. One, I could just let's duplicate this one. This is our low poly, right? No, that's our high poly. This is our low poly. Okay, so let's duplicate you one more time and just move you to the side and move this just to this layer next to the high poly. And then we show them both. So what we could do is I could select that and press Ctrl L and link materials. Okay, that should have worked. And then you link materials. Okay, so that's not working if I just do that. Now if we render this, as you can see, our low poly, you really don't see much difference actually. It looks the same. They've got the nice rock textures, all the detail we added from this material, and the only difference is this one is 588 Hertz and this one is 11,000. Okay, so that's one way. What I'm going to show you in the next video or at the end of the next video when we make the axe to be placed inside of here, is how we're going to bake the normal map from this, which is a bit extra details that we don't see here, and then to mix those normal maps, that normal map with the normal map that we made with the texture. And finally we're going to bake all of that out onto one normal map, one color map, one glossy map for the low poly that we're capable of using in the game engine. So I hope you guys learned something, and yeah, I'm excited to be back for part 2 where we model the axe, and yeah, we'll most likely texture it and prepare it for the game engine, place it in the rock, export all our maps after baking it, and yeah, if there are some requests for it, I could even show how it looks in Unreal Engine, since that's the game engine I'm using. And thank you.